Welcome to the Midday Meltdown Party Over Here with J&J Video.
How is everybody doing today? Good, I hope. Thank you so much for your patience. Had to get those notifications out. Hopefully everybody is having a wonderful day. I am feeling wonderful. I've been blessed with a brand new day, another chance to learn and grow and be better than I was yesterday. And hopefully you all are enjoying that same opportunity. Shout out to Nikki Star from Nikki Star TV. That sister right there, man. If you watch 90 Day Fiance, if you watch any of those reality TV shows, Bachelorette. By the way, my wife Jen sold me on Brandon, and last night I believe her. After last night, I believe her. I was going with Nate. Nate was my pick. But I don't know, between Nate and Joe. But Brandon caught up. I'm like, he's too young for her. But I saw a bomb between them last night. That was amazing. I'm telling you, you know what? I made a little thumbnail for you. Shout out to Nikki Star from Nikki Star TV. Go subscribe to that sister's channel if you watch reality TV. She has the funniest, most charming reviews ever. And so hopefully she's enjoying her holiday, and maybe we'll be talking real soon. But in any event, guys, and this is restream. So yeah, if you're frustrated with StreamYard, we gotta talk. But anywho, yeah, guys, welcome to day 2 of Party Over Here live stream, The Art of Not Giving Up. Okay, that's what this one is about. Yesterday we started in listening to Mark Manson's book, and let's go ahead and get our studio up here. Yesterday we went in and we listened to Mark's book, and he basically was telling us not to stress. That's what the whole book is about. There are certain things that you give a F about, and there are certain things that you don't. And when you start putting yourself into a situation where you're giving a fuck about everything but what you need to give a fuck about, you got a problem. And you need to dig inside and fix that problem. You can't just, go all the way, always rely on other people to fix your problems, because at the end of the day, you're responsible for how you feel. You're responsible for your happiness. Nobody else is. Other people are going to always disappoint you. Things are going to disappoint you. Materialistic things, people, places are going to disappoint you. You have got to learn how to dig inside yourself and pull that out, because guess what? That's truly where it is, inside of you. So without further ado, and I see we got DZ over in the chat. What's up, my brother? I hope you are having an awesome day. I know I am. Is that Blunt Dog? Blunt Dog. Peace to you, my brother. Peace to you. Glad to have you in the chat today. I guess maybe I'm not off your radar. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe one day I'll tell that story, but for right now, I prefer to keep my peace and have a spectacular day. It does not need to be bogged down with any type of negative situations. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and get started with Mark Manson's book. Let me go ahead and pull it in with us. And DZ, I'm going to go ahead and get you the link, my brother, so you can join in and listen to this with me. We are having an ear party over here, baby. Welcome to Party Over Here. Let's get it started.
I was often on friends' couches or with my mom, drinking way more than I should have been, alienating a number of. And when I did meet a woman I really liked, my self-absorption quickly torpedoed everything. The deeper the pain, the more helpless we feel against our problems. Entitlement we adopt to compensate for those problems. This entitlement plays out in one of two ways. One, I'm awesome and the rest of you all suck, so I deserve special treatment. Two, I suck and the rest of you are all awesome, so I deserve special treatment. Opposite mindset on the outside, but the same selfish, creamy core in the middle. In fact, you will often see self-entitled people flip back and forth between the two. Either they're on top of the world or the world is on top of them, depending on the day of the week, or how well they're doing in their particular addiction at that moment.
We don't listen to your average self-help books over here on this channel. We listen to the ones that are a little bit in your face.
Most people correctly identify a person like Jimmy as a raging narcissistic asshat. That's because he's pretty blatant high self-regard. What most people don't correctly identify as entitlement are those people who perpetually feel as though they're inferior and unworthy of the world. Because construing everything in life so as to make yourself out to be constantly victimized requires just as much selfishness as the opposite. It takes just as much energy and delusional self-aggrandizement to maintain the belief that one has insurmountable problems as that one has no problems at all. The truth is that there's no such thing as a personal problem. If you've got a problem, chances are millions of other people have had it in the past, have it now, and are going to have it in the future. Likely people you know, too. That doesn't minimize the problem or mean that it shouldn't hurt. It doesn't mean you aren't legitimately a victim in some circumstances. It just means that you're not special. Often, it's this realization that you and your problems are actually not privileged in their severity or pain that is the most important step towards solving them. But for some reason, it appears that more and more people, particularly young people, are forgetting this. Numerous and educators have noted a lack of resilience and an excess of selfish demands in today's young people. It's not uncommon now to be removed from a class's curriculum for no other reason than that they made feel bad. Speakers and professors are shouted in from campuses for infractions as simple as suggesting that maybe some Halloween costumes really aren't that effective. School counselors note that more students than ever are exhibiting severe signs of emotional distress over what are otherwise run-of-the-mill daily college experiences, such as an argument with a roommate or getting a low grade in a class. It's strange that in an age when we are more connected than ever, entitlements.
Link has been dropped in the chat. Feel free to join the party panel.
Seem to be at an all-time high. Something about recent technology seems to allow our insecurities to run amok before. The more freedom we're given to express ourselves, the more we want to be free of having to deal with anyone who may disagree with us or upset us. The more exposed we are to opposing viewpoints, the more we seem to get upset that those other viewpoints exist. The easier and more free our lives become, the more we seem to feel entitled to them to get even better. The benefits of the internet and social media are unquestionably fantastic. In many ways, this is the best time in history to be alive. But perhaps these technologies are having some unintended social side effects. Perhaps these same technologies that have liberated and educated so many are simultaneously enabling a sense of entitlement more than ever before. The tyranny of exceptionalism. Most of us are pretty average at most things we do. Even if you're exceptional at one thing, chances are you're average or below average at most other things. That's just the nature of life. To become truly great at something, you have to dedicate shit tons of time and energy to do it. And because we all have limited time and energy, few of us ever become truly exceptional at more than one thing, if anything at all. We can then say that it's statistical improbability that any single person will be an extraordinary performer in all areas of life, or even in many areas of their life. Brilliant business people are often fuck-ups in their personal lives. Extraordinary athletes are often shallow and as dumb atomized rock. Many celebrities are probably just as clueless about life as the people who gawk at them and follow their every move. We're all, for the most part, pretty average people, but extremes that get all of the publicity. We kind of know this already, but we rarely think and or talk about it, and we certainly know this could be a problem. Having the internet, Google, 100+ channels of television is amazing, but our attention is limited. There's no way we can process the tidal waves of information flowing past us constantly. Therefore, the only zeros and ones that break through and catch our attention are the truly exceptional pieces of it. Those in the 99.99th percentile.
Shout out to you, Brother DZ. How are you this morning?
Hey, hi sis, how you doing? I'm doing good. How you doing, sis?
I'm doing good, my brother. What was that message you said in the chat? Just don't be peeping in.
I said, I said, we know. I said this. Don't be a peeping tom and hit that like on the video so we can share this gem. We know a bunch of y'all are playing FBI and CIA here. That's true, sis. There's like 4 people on the chat, and then nobody, and then they're not liking the video. We're supposed to get 4 likes on the video, so we know y'all. There's a bunch of peeping toms coming playing FBI and CIA. So hit that like, So it's
You
pretty
might as
obvious.
well hit the like button. You might as well hit the dislike button. If you don't like this channel or what we're talking about, go ahead and hit the dislike button. It all feeds the algorithm.
Exactly.
At least they know they already know it's being watched. So
Exactly.
you might as well go ahead and hit the like button.
Hit the like button. Exactly.
Or dislike, whatever you feel like doing. Because guess what? I don't give a.
All day, every day, we are flooded with the truly extraordinary, the best of the best, the worst of the worst, the greatest physical feats, the funniest jokes, the most upsetting news, the scariest threats, nonstop. Our lives today are filled with information from the extremes of the bell curve of human experience, because in the media business, that's what gets eyeballs, and eyeballs bring dollars. That's the bottom line.
Facts.
Yet the vast majority of life resides in the humdrum middle. The vast majority of life is unextraordinary, indeed quite average. This flood of extreme information has conditioned us to believe that exceptionalism is the new normal. And because we're all quite average most of the time, the deluge of exceptional information drives us to...
There is one person that give permission to be a peeping Tom in here. And if you're in here, welcome.
Feel pretty damn insecure and desperate, because clearly we are somehow not good enough. So more and more we feel the need to compensate through entitlement and addiction. We cope the only way we know how, either through self-aggrandizing or through other aggrandizing. Some of us do this by cooking up rich quick schemes. Others do it by taking off across the world to save starving babies in Africa. Others do it by excelling in school and winning an award. Others do it by shooting up a school. But by trying to have sex with anything that talks and breathes. This ties into the growing culture of entitlement that I talked about earlier. Millennials often get blamed for this cultural shift, most likely because millennials are the most plugged in and visible generation. In fact, the tendency toward entitlement is apparent across all of society. And I believe it's linked to mass media-driven exceptionalism. The problem is that the pervasiveness of technology and mass marketing is screwing up a lot of people's expectations for themselves. The inundation of the exceptional makes people feel worse about themselves.
And we
makes
call
them feel that
that
they need to be more extreme.
We
more
call that
radical,
the Matrix.
More self-assured to get noticed or even matter.
That is the Matrix.
When I was a young man, my insecurities around intimacy were exacerbated by all the ridiculous narratives of masculinity circulating through pop culture. And those same narratives are still circulating. To be a cool guy, you have to party like a rock star. To be respected, you have to be admired by women. Sex is the most valuable thing a man can attain, and it's worth sacrificing anything, including your own dignity, to get it. This constant stream of unrealistic media dogpiles onto our existing feelings of insecurity by overexposing us to the unrealistic standards we fail to live up to. Not only do we feel subjected to unsolvable problems, but we feel like losers because a simple Google search shows us thousands of people without those same problems. Technology has solved old economic problems by giving us new psychological problems. The internet has not just open-sourced information, it has also open-sourced insecurity, self-doubt, and shame. But if I'm not going to be special or extraordinary, what's the point? It has become an accepted part of our culture today to believe that we are all destined to do something truly extraordinary. Celebrities say it. Business tycoons say it. Politicians say it. Even Oprah says it, so it must be true. Each and every one of us can be extraordinary. We all deserve greatness. The fact that this statement is inherently contradictory, after all, if everyone were extraordinary, then by definition, no one would be extraordinary.
Guys, if you know anybody who can use a place to come to just to vent or to listen to some good stuff for the soul, please share this on all of your social media. Send people over here that want to basically help themselves. It's called self-help, but those who want to help themselves some good old-fashioned mental healing. Because that's what we're about on this channel. Getting the mind right, keeping the mind at peace, keeping the inner soul at peace, and focusing on living in the now. That's what we do.
Exactly.
We need a lot more channels like that.
Yep.
We need a lot more channels focusing on positive energy and not constant barragement of negativity. We've got enough of that in the world today.
Yep.
With COVID, with global warming, we've got enough negativity. Let's have some positivity for once. Let's cleanse our minds and our souls. You
Exactly.
agree, DZ?
Yeah, most definitely. Like we need to, we should stop being agent of chaos. We should stop being an agent of chaos and start being an agent of positivity. Because there's a lot of agents of chaos, lurking around, you know, trying to spread that negativity and everything, and that's what is keeping us as a community behind, and we have
Absolutely.
to end up, but we cannot just say we're agents of positivity and we don't let our actions speak louder than our words.
Absolutely. That's why I love channels that uplift, and that's why I was talking about Nikki Star earlier. She's a sister that she's doing something now where she's helping promote Black businesses, people who do things, like I'm a producer and an editor,
Yeah.
so you think that, you know, somebody would jump on and, hey, like, it's so funny because the organization that I was with, accused me of being money hungry and defacing my character, when I was literally brought in on the premise that my channel would be elevated. Not only that, it was unfair that I was not um, compensated by other people. Now, I didn't bring up the word compensation; it was brought to me.
Yep.
And when it was brought to me, I said, well, I'm not doing this for money, but it is much appreciated.
Yep.
No, we're going to make sure you get X amount of dollars every. Don't say it and then accuse me of being greedy when you don't live up to what you said.
Exactly.
Okay.
Don't go around twisting people's words, and
Exactly.
when
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
I
when
never worked for any other YouTube channel. I'm saying it publicly.
exactly.
Okay. I was accused of working for somebody. And how high school is it that you can't earn money in your own business because a leader of your organization doesn't like that other plan? That's some high school crap.
High school 2.0, I
I
call
don't like him, so I don't want you to play with him.
it. Yeah.
Okay. I don't like that girl, so
Yep.
you shouldn't speak to her. How
Yep.
high school is that?
It's really high school playground bullshit, I call it. You know what I mean? Because it's
That's
like,
exactly what it is.
yeah,
How dare you tell me? Listen, Verizon doesn't give a shit about
mhm.
Verizon doesn't give a crap about that organization. My
Yeah,
gas and electric bill does not rest on that organization. Did I come to them and say, "Hey, I need help paying this bill"? No, I did not.
yeah,
Okay. And what would have been nice and would not have cost a dime was, instead of saying J&J on the ones and twos, J&J is producing this stream.
yep.
Please help that sister out. I'm going to go ahead and put her channel link in the chat. How
Hmm.
about you go and subscribe to her channel? I thought it was about lifting up the channels, but
Yep.
it became about one channel, just
Yep.
like they accused somebody else of doing. It became the same exact thing because at the end of the day, we were all serving one channel. No, excuse me, two channels.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, I apologize, guys. Yeah, there's some anger in there because I feel who
Oh,
who was really betrayed here. I
yep.
wasn't even given a chance to tell my side of what happened. So who was really betrayed and who was misled?
Who was misled? Well, it's funny because that same individual took whatever was done at the time, whatever was said, in regards to compensation or whatever, because they brought it up. You never brought it up.
I
They
never asked for
Yeah,
money.
you never asked for the money. They
And I
twisted
didn't go to any other channel asking for money. I was
exactly,
offered an opportunity and I did
exactly,
not take it. And I went up front to the leader of this organization. And how was I repaid? By my words being twisted.
they were
Think about it. You would have never known about it had I not come and been honest with you.
exactly,
And
exactly.
that's how you repay me for that?
Yep, yep. It's that's the art of betrayal,
It's bullshit.
and it's bullshit, and that should be a lesson to people, right? Because Those
No,
individuals
it's
do
not
not
a
know
lesson
that.
because they're all being brainwashed. Think for
They'll be
yourselves. Do
think for
yourself
yourself.
a favor and think for yourselves.
Yeah. Don't subscribe to groupthink. Don't subscribe to groupthink because when somebody is so when somebody is so narcissistic that they all they do is believe their own words and they accuse everybody else of having snakish behavior, but they are the same person that
Absolutely.
have that snakish behavior. They're even the worst of the bunch. They are the worst.
I'm supposed to let my wife go out every night and do DoorDash and not ride with her, spending 5 hours producing live streams, sitting there, making sure everything went as smoothly as it could go, with technology.
Yeah.
And how I get repaid, my link wasn't even dropped in the chat, not one time. Not one time was anybody told to go subscribe to my channel. That didn't cost a dime. What's your excuse now?
Yep. Exactly. Which is
I'm gonna get off that negative shit because I could talk about that all day long. You want to know the truth? Come see me. Don't ask somebody else.
yeah.
Come talk to me
Yeah.
like a grown up.
Don't go around. Don't go around other people and talk shit. That's it. Don't go
Exactly.
around other people and say shit. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What we actually deserve or don't deserve, we eat the message up and ask for more. Being average has become the new standard of failure. The worst thing you can be is in the middle of the pack, the middle of the bell curve. When a culture's standard of success is to be extraordinary, it then becomes better to be at the extreme low end of the bell curve than to be in the middle, because at least there you're still special and deserve attention. Many people choose this strategy to prove to everyone that they are the most miserable or the most depressed or the most victimized.
Facts.
A lot of people are afraid to accept mediocrity because they believe that if they accept it, they'll never achieve anything, never improve, and that their life won't matter. This sort of thinking is dangerous. Once you accept the premise that a life is worthwhile only if it is truly notable and great, then you basically accept the fact that most of the human population, including yourself, sucks and is worthless. And this mindset can quickly turn dangerous to both yourself and others. The rare people who do become truly exceptional at something do so not because they believe they're exceptional. On the contrary, they become amazing because they're obsessed with improvement. And that obsession with improvement stems from an unerring belief that they are, in fact, not that great at all. It's anti-entitlement. People who become great at something become great because they understand that they're not already great. They are mediocre, they are average, and that they could be so much better. All of this every person can be extraordinary and achieve greatness stuff is basically just jerking off your ego. It's a message that tastes good going down, but in reality is nothing more than empty calories that makes you emotionally fat and bloated. The proverbial Big Mac for your heart and your brain. The ticket to emotional health, like that to physical health, comes from eating your veggies. That is, accepting the bland and mundane truths of life. Truths such as your actions actually don't matter that much in the grand scheme of things, and the vast majority of your life will be boring and not noteworthy, and that's okay. This vegetable course will taste bad at first, very bad. You will avoid accepting it. But once ingested, your body will wake up feeling more potent and more alive. After all, that constant pressure to be something amazing, to be the next big thing, will be lifted off your back. The stress and anxiety of always feeling inadequate and constantly needing to prove yourself will dissipate. And the knowledge and acceptance of your own mundane existence will actually free you to accomplish what you truly wish to accomplish.
I'm done with proving anything to anybody.
Lofty expectations. You will have an appreciation for life's basic experiences. The pleasures of simple friendship, creating something, helping a person in need, reading a good book, laughing with someone you care about. Sounds boring, doesn't it? That's because these things are ordinary. But maybe they're ordinary for a reason. Because they are what actually matters. Chapter 4. The Value of Suffering. In the closing months of 1944, after almost a decade of war, the The tide was turning against Japan. Their economy was floundering, their military overstretched across half of Asia, and the territories they had won throughout the Pacific were now toppling like dominoes to U.S. forces. Defeat.
Show love of my life. I love you, sweetie.
Inevitable. On December 26, 1944, 2nd Lieutenant Hiro Onoda of the Japanese Imperial Army was deployed to the small island of Lubang in the Philippines. His orders were to slow the United States' progress as much as possible, to stand and fight at all costs, and to never surrender. Both he and his commander knew it was essentially a suicide mission. In February 1945, the Americans arrived on Lubang and took the island with overwhelming force. Within days, most of the Japanese soldiers had either surrendered or been killed, but Onoda and 3 of his men managed to hide in the jungle. From there, he began a guerrilla warfare campaign against the U.S. forces and the local population, attacking supply lines, shooting at stray soldiers, and interfering with the American forces in any way that they could. That August, half a year later, the United States dropped atomic bombs on the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Japan surrendered.
Shout out to you, Blunt Dog. Blunt Dog says, when I was younger, I cared about what people think. And now that I'm an old man, I don't care what people think. Hallelujah. It's very liberating, isn't it?
Yes.
To not give a what people think.
Mm-hmm.
To be yourself and associate with who you want to associate with.
Yeah.
And do things that better yourself and better those around you, not tear others down for what they're accomplishing and calling them names. That's high school stuff.
Mm-hmm. Don't say that you're for the people, but you don't do anything for the
You don't
people.
support the people.
You don't show the support
Think
to
about it. How many people have disappeared since that whole thing started? Come on now. Wake up. Smell the damn coffee.
Exactly.
The deadliest war in human history came to its dramatic conclusion. However, thousands of Japanese soldiers are still scattered among the Pacific Islands, and most, like Onoda, were hiding in the jungle, aware that the war was over. These holdouts continued to fight and pillage as they had before. This was a problem for rebuilding Eastern Asia after the war, and the governments agreed something must be done. The U.S. military, in conjunction with the Japanese government, dropped thousands of leaflets throughout the Pacific region, announcing that the war was over and it was time for everyone to go home. Onoda and his men, like many others, found and read these leaflets, but unlike most of the others, Onoda decided that they were fake, a trap set by the American forces to get the guerrilla fighters to show themselves. Onoda burned the leaflets, and he and his men stayed hidden and continued to fight. 5 years went by. The leaflets had stopped, and most of the American forces had long since gone home.
Oh, and by the way, I wasn't working with, and I don't work for anybody but myself, okay? I wasn't working with that other organization, but I am now.
Local population on Lubang attempted to return to their normal lives of farming and fishing. Yet there were Hiro Onoda and his merry men, still shooting at the farmers, burning their crops, stealing their livestock, and murdering locals who wandered too far into the jungle. The Philippine government then took drawing up new flyers and spreading them out across the jungle. Come out, they said.
And they welcomed me in with open arms.
Yep.
The war is over. You lost. But these too were ignored. In 1952, the Japanese government made one final effort to draw the last remaining soldiers out of hiding throughout the Pacific. This time, letters and pictures from the missing soldiers' families were airdropped, along with a personal note from the emperor himself. Once again, Onoda refused to believe that the information was real. Once again, he believed the airdrop to be a trick by the Americans. Once again, he and his men stood and continued to fight. Another few years went by, and the Philippine locals, sick of being terrorized, finally armed themselves and began firing back. In 1959, one of Onoda's companions had surrendered, and another had been killed. Then, a decade later, Onoda's last companion, a man called Kozuka, was killed in a shootout with the local police while he was burning rice fields, still waging war against the local population a quarter century after the end of war. Onoda, having now spent more than half of his life in the jungles of Lubang, was all alone. In 1972, the news of Kozuka's death reached Japan and caused a stir. The Japanese people thought the last of the soldiers from the war had come home years earlier. The Japanese media began to wonder if Kozuka had still been on Lubang until 1972. Then perhaps Onoda himself, the last Japanese holdout from World War II, might still be alive as well. That year, both the Japanese and Philippine governments sent search parties to look for the enigmatic second lieutenant, now part myth, part hero, and part ghost. They found nothing. As the months progressed, the story of Lieutenant Onoda morphed into something of an urban legend in Japan. The war hero who was insane to actually exist. Many romanticized him. Others criticized him. Others thought he was the stuff of fairy tale, invented by those who still wanted to believe in a Japan that had disappeared long ago. It was around this time that a young man named Norio Suzuki first heard of Onoda. Suzuki was an adventurer, an explorer, and a bit of a hippie. Born after the war ended, he had dropped out of school and spent 4 years hitchhiking his way to Asia, the Middle East, and Africa, sleeping on park benches, in strangers' cars, in jail cells, and under the stars. He volunteered on farms for food and donated blood to pay for places to stay. He was a free spirit and perhaps a little bit nuts. In 1972, Suzuki needed another adventure. He had returned to Japan after his travels and found the strict cultural norms and social hierarchy to be stifling. He hated school. He couldn't hold down a job. He wanted to be back on the road, back on his own again. For Suzuki, the legend of Hiro Onoda came as the answer to his problems. It was a new and worthy adventure for him to pursue. Suzuki believed that he would be one who would find Onoda. Sure, search parties conducted by the Japanese, Philippine, and American governments had to find Onoda. Local police forces had been scavenging the jungle almost 30 years with no luck. Thousands of leaflets had met with no response, but fuck it, this dropout hippie was going to be the one to find him. Unarmed and untrained for any sort of reconnaissance or affair, Suzuki traveled to Lubang and began wandering around the jungle all by himself. His strategy? Scream Onoda's name really loudly and tell him that the Emperor was worried about him. He found Onoda in 4 days. Suzuki stayed with Onoda in the jungle for some time. Onoda had been alone by that point. Found by Suzuki, he welcomed the companionship and was desperate to learn what had been happening in the world from a Japanese source he could trust. The two men became sorta kind of friends. Suzuki asked Onoda why he had stayed and continued to fight. Onoda said it was simple. He had been given the order to never surrender, so he stayed. For nearly 30 years, he had simply been following an order. Onoda then asked Suzuki why a hippie boy like himself came looking for him. Suzuki said that he'd left Japan in search of 3 things: Lieutenant Onoda, a panda bear, and the abominable snowman, in that order. The two men had been brought together under the most curious of circumstances. 2 well-intentioned adventurers chasing false visions of glory, like a real-life Japanese Don Quixote and Sancho Panza, stuck together in the damp recesses of a Philippine jungle, both imagining themselves heroes, despite both being alone with nothing, doing nothing. Onoda had already by then given up most of his life to a phantom war. Suzuki would give his up too. Having already found Hiro Onoda and the panda bear, he would die a few years later in the Himalayas, still in search of the abominable snowman. Humans often choose to dedicate large portions of their lives to seemingly useless or destructive causes. On the surface, these causes make no sense. It's hard to imagine how Onoda could have been happy on that island for those 30 years, living off insects and rodents, sleeping in the dirt, murdering civilians decade after decade. Or why Suzuki off to his own death with no money, no companions, and no purpose other than to chase an imaginary yeti. Yet, later in his life, Onoda said he regretted nothing. He claimed that he was proud of his choices and his time on Lubang. He said that it had been an honor to devote a sizable portion of his life in service to a non-existent empire. Suzuki, had he survived, likely would have said something similar, that he was exactly what he was meant to do, that he regretted nothing. These men both chose how they wished to suffer, chose to suffer for loyalty to a dead empire. Suzuki chose to suffer for...
What's that got to do with making motorcycles? Suzuki. I'm like, isn't that the motorcycle people?
Yeah, that's them. Yeah, yeah, the Japanese manufacturer.
For adventure, no matter how ill-advised. To both men, their suffering meant something. It fulfilled some greater cause. And because it meant something, they were able to endure it, or perhaps even enjoy it. If suffering is inevitable, if our problems in life are unavoidable, then the question we should be asking is not, how do I stop suffering? But, why am I suffering? For what purpose? Hiro Onoda returned to Japan in 1974 and became a kind of celebrity in his home country. He was shuttled around from talk show to radio station. Politicians clamored to shake his hand, a book, and was even offered a large sum of money by the government. But what he found when he returned to Japan horrified him. A consumerist, capitalist, superficial culture that had lost all of the traditions, honor, and sacrifice upon which his generation had been raised. Onoda tried to use his sudden celebrity to espouse the values of old Japan, but he was tone deaf to this new society. He was seen more as a showpiece than as a serious cultural thinker, a Japanese man who had emerged from a time capsule for all to marvel at, like a relic in a museum. And in the irony of ironies, Onoda became far more depressed than he'd ever been in the jungle for all those years. At least in the jungle, his life had stood for something. It had meant something. That had made his suffering endurable, indeed, even a little bit desirable. But back in Japan, in what he considered to be a vacuous nation full of hippies and loose women in Western clothing, he was confronted with the unavoidable truth that his fighting had meant nothing. The Japan he had lived and fought for no longer existed. And the weight of this realization pierced him in a way that no bullet ever had. Because his suffering had meant nothing, it suddenly became realized and true. 30 years wasted. And so, in 1980, Onoda packed up and moved to Brazil, where he remained until he died. The self-awareness onion. Self-awareness is like an onion. There are multiple layers to it, and the more you peel them back, the more likely you're going to start crying at inappropriate times.
Facts.
Let's say the first layer of the self-awareness onion is a simple understanding of one's emotions. This is when I feel happy. This makes me feel sad. This gives me hope. Unfortunately, there are many people who suck at even this most basic level of self-awareness. I know because I'm one of them. My wife and I sometimes have a fun back and forth that goes something like this. Her, what's wrong? Me, nothing's wrong. Nothing at all. Her, no, something's wrong. Tell me. Me, fine, really. Her, are you sure? You look upset. Me, with nervous laughter. Really? No, I'm okay. Seriously. 30 minutes later. Me, and that's why I'm so fucking pissed off. It's as if I don't exist at the time. We all have emotional blind spots. Often they have to do with emotions that we were...
Oh, the ones that are close to us have such a way of pulling it out of us, don't they?
Facts. So much. Man.
Jen and I have had that same conversation countless times.
Yeah.
Both on the other sides of the fence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's done it to me. Crazy.
Sure.
We're taught were inappropriate growing up. It takes years of practice and effort to get good at identifying blind spots in ourselves and then expressing the emotions appropriately. But this task is hugely important and worth the effort. The second layer of the self-awareness onion is an ability to ask why we feel certain emotions. These why questions are difficult and often take months or even years to answer consistently and accurately. Most people need to go to some sort of therapist just to hear these questions asked for the first time.
Facts.
Such questions are important because they illuminate what we consider success or failure. Why do you feel angry? Is it because you failed to achieve some goal? Why do you feel lethargic and uninspired? Is it because you don't think you're good enough? This layer of questioning helps us understand the root cause of the emotions that overwhelm us. Once we understand that root cause, we can ideally do something to change it. But there's another, even deeper level of the self-awareness onion. And that one is full of fucking tears. The third level is our personal values. Why do I consider this to be success or failure? How am I choosing to measure myself? By what standard am I judging myself and everyone around me? This level, which takes constant questioning and effort, is incredibly difficult to reach. But it's the point, because our values determine the nature of our problems, and the nature of our problems determines the quality of our lives. Values underlie everything we are and do. If what we value is unhelpful, if what we consider success or failure is poorly chosen, then everything based upon those values, the thoughts, the emotions, the day-to-day feelings, will all be out of whack. Everything we think and feel about a situation ultimately comes back to how valuable we perceive it to be. Most people are horrible at answering these why questions accurately, and this prevents them from achieving a deeper knowledge of their own values. Sure, they may say they value honesty and a true friend, but then they turn around and lie about you behind your back to make themselves feel better. People may perceive that they feel lonely, but when they ask themselves why they feel lonely, they tend to come up with a way to blame others. Everyone else is mean, or no one is cool or smart enough to understand them, and thus they further avoid their problem instead of seeking to solve it. For many
Facts.
people, this passes as self-awareness, and yet, if they were able to go deeper and look at their underlying values, they would see that their original analysis was based on avoiding responsibility for their own problem, rather than accurately identifying the problem. They would see that their decisions were based on chasing highs, not generating true happiness. Most self-help gurus ignore this deeper level of self-awareness as well. They take people who are miserable because they want to be rich, and then give them all sorts of advice on how to make more money, all the while ignoring important values-based questions. Why do they feel such a need to be rich in the first place? How are they choosing to measure success or failure for themselves? Is it not perhaps some particular value that's the root cause of their unhappiness, and not the fact that they don't drive a Bentley yet? Much of the advice out there operates at a shallow level of simply trying to make people feel good in the short term, while the real long-term problems never get solved. People's perceptions and feelings may change, but the underlying values and the metrics by which those values are assessed stay the same. This is not real progress. This is just another way to achieve more highs. Honest self-questioning is difficult. It requires asking yourself simple questions that are uncomfortable to answer. In fact, in my experience, the more uncomfortable the answer, the more likely it is to be true. Take a moment and think of something that's really bugging you. Now ask yourself why it bugs you. So the answers will involve failure of some sort. Then take that failure and ask why it seems true to you. What if that failure wasn't really a failure? What if you've been looking at it the wrong way? Recent example from my own life.
I look at what happened recently, DZ, as an opportunity to move forward and service and help people who are going to appreciate it.
Exactly. Exactly. Just service people who are going to appreciate it.
And I don't
And
mean appreciate it with money either.
yeah, yeah, respect. You know what I mean? Respect is very important. And a lot of people misconstrue respect for, for being selfish. Um, you have to be you have to show respect to people and not use money as a way to to discredit them, as an excuse to discredit them. When you go around, because you're such an agent of chaos and you embrace that chaos, you go around and spread lies about the people that help you, karma will come and collect. And
Facts.
karma comes to collect regardless. It's happened. It has 100% record. So karma will come to collect regardless. So don't play a saint. Um, don't claim to be this Svengali of everyone, because the people that are looking up to you are being snared by you and believing all your lies instead of being truthful and just knowing just knowing what the truth of the matter is. I'm not going to be part of an organization that provides us such a unhealthy agenda and an unhealthy mentality at the end of the day. So um but people deserve respect. If you're gonna if you want that respect, you have to give that respect. You
You
have
have
to
to earn
provide
it.
that respect. You have to earn it, and it's always gonna be the same. Yeah,
You don't earn it by tearing others down,
yeah,
just
exactly,
because they may have accomplished something that, you didn't think that they did it the way you thought they should have did it. Or, I mean, at the end of the day, we're all just trying to get ahead, and we're all just trying to live this crazy experience called life. Nobody is on a pedestal. Nobody is more of a martyr than the next person, because we've all sacrificed
exactly,
time, energy. Okay, and those things are way more meaningful than money, you know
exactly,
so
exactly. And for everyone that's trying to you know trying to defend that person, because and believe their lies or whatever. For you guys that are doing that, you are going to wake up one day and smell that coffee, and you're going to wonder why you did not wake up and see that, because it's clear as day. It's clear as day.
facts.
So for everyone that wants to try to tarnish my sister's name or my name, it's funny because it's clear as day. Everything is there. You're clearly being used like milk. You know what I mean? And that person is milking you, man. And there is nothing worse than being used like milk, man. I'm sorry. So it's clear as day. And if y'all don't a lot of your channels, and I'm sorry sis, I'm going to diatribe here, but a lot of your channels and livelihood right now are being used right now, and y'all ain't even growing personally in your own lives and everything, and you socially, YouTube or whatever. If you got channels or whatever, y'all doing nothing, right? Y'all being used and used. You're not even seeing it right now, but one day you're gonna wake up and you're gonna be like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Stop subscribing to that group thing culture, man. That's why a lot of y'all are still in the same position right now. Because you subscribe to group thing culture and everything. That is not the way to go. You're gonna end up you're gonna live today, you're gonna wake up today. You were born in this world alone. Of course, your parents were there at the time, but you're gonna die alone in the coffin. That's what's gonna happen. you know, that's just a fact. So those guys don't pay your bills. You pay your own bills. Nobody's gonna help you out there, man. So don't, just like this book says, don't give a fuck. Really, don't. Just do you. Just do you. At the end of the day, don't subscribe to group thing. Whoever is actually cares about you, give those guys that sort of attention. But don't believe. Why are you gonna believe anything from for why are you gonna believe words from someone that honestly you've never met in your future, never ever ever met in your life, you know and you're willing to go for a cause that really is not going to bring any sort of happiness in your life, you know so at the end of the day, grow up, man. A lot of y'all need to grow up, suck it, and, and go with it. You know what I mean? And just live your life. Just like Sister JJ is doing, just like what I'm doing, just like the people on the chat are doing, and a lot of us. So don't be a hypocrite and start blaming everybody for your own transgressions, man. That's only going to keep you back. You know, that's only going to keep you back. And last thing I'm going to say, You try that organization. You try to end it multiple times. Why? Ask yourself why. You know, ask yourself why. You try to end it multiple times because you couldn't believe in it. You know, because you knew what you were doing was wrong, and I know you don't want to admit it, but let's just admit it. Just admit it and come out in the open. But anyways, it is what it is, and you know, by the end of the day, man, it's better to walk alone. Just like Blonde Dog says, it's better to walk alone in the crowd instead of going, than in the crowd going in the wrong direction. Exactly. I always said I'd rather be on that line when I'm alone instead of going to the other crowd. I'd rather have a few friends, a few family members that I truly trust than having a whole bunch of crowds that are fake people. That's it. You know what I mean? So shout out to you, Blunt Dog. Sis, I'm sorry I went on a diatribe right now. Yeah. Sister JJ, you there? Oh, I think she ain't there yet. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it going. But yeah, Blunt Dog, I totally agree with you. I think at the end of the day, it's important to be minding, you know, you know, that we like it's important that we are we focus on our own purpose. Too many times these days do we care so much about what others have to say about us, and so many times do we care so much about you know following a certain agenda. I think this is why politics these days is such a it's so dangerous for us as a people. You know what I mean? Because they are teaching us to take a side instead of actually believing the truth at the end of the day. So I think it's really important to believe the truth. You know what I mean? It's really important to believe the truth instead of taking sides. Taking sides is never going to um it's never going to bring any sort of happiness at the end of the day. Um yeah, take the side that you want to. Everybody has a choice, but for most of my life, I never subscribed to that groupthink culture, man. I never did, and I will never did. Um, yes, sis, yeah, you say your internet went off. You'll be back in a little bit. Yeah, J and J will be back in a few minutes, guys. Her internet went out a bit, so I'm just gonna hold it on for her while she's here, man. That's what we do, man. But yeah, but basically, yeah, I mean, I feel like that's why it's so important to have, um, that's what Sister JJ is doing. This is so important. The sort of art of
I'm
not.
back.
That's what we do, man. It's sis.
Hey.
Yeah, yeah. So sorry about that. I went on the diatribe.
No, thank God you did, because all of a sudden I think I kicked something and kicked my modem out. And I
Oh,
went out and I'm like, oh my God, so I sent that text as soon as it happened. And I've just
yeah,
been waiting for my modem to reboot. Thank you. So how crazy is it that it happened exactly when it happened?
yeah. It's crazy, right?
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I'm like, oh God, they done hacked my shit. Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. but but like I said, sis,
No, but I was listening to you the entire
yeah,
time, my brother. Speak. You
yeah.
are speaking the truth today.
Oh, thank you so much, sis. I'm just saying, it's nothing wrong with what we're doing and everything, but I lean to the side of the truth. I don't take sides. I don't play group think or no. I'm not a group thinker. I've never been. I've always been unconventional my whole life.
Me too.
Everything I do, me not going to
I think my
college.
lifestyle proves
Oh
it.
yeah, exactly, sis. Me not going to college and everything. I was being, ridiculed by a lot of family members for not going to college and getting a degree. You know, but I just kept
Yeah.
on going and everything, and I have a fruitful career right now. My whole life has been unconventional. and I'm going to live like that. So just because certain people have an issue, you know, have an issue in regards to, you know, Sister JJ or me or anybody else, Blonde Dog, Vegan Knowledge, people on the chat, just because people have an issue with the way you live your life doesn't mean that you need to listen to them. You can live your life, man, and do what you do that's best for you and your family as well and your close ones. That's great, but at the end of the day, it's us.
Yeah.
We aren't
And
waiting.
you know something? At the end of the day, I
Mm-hmm.
choose my family over any organization
Mm-hmm.
because when things are, when things are rough, Jen is the only one that I have to
Mm-hmm.
turn to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she's the only one that I had to turn to besides you now and a couple other, family members that are
Mm-hmm.
on her side and on my side. But other than that, she's my family. And when I saw her
Mm-hmm.
going out and, at night, at dark, she's a woman, you know what I'm saying? And
Exactly.
that's not
Exactly.
safe in this day and age. And I'm letting her do that by herself, which is something that we've never done. We've always had each other's back like that. And I've never let her go out at night by herself. And all of a sudden, I'm finding myself, sitting. And
Mm-hmm.
did they ask me to do that every time? In all fairness, and this is what I pride myself on as being upfront. No, they did not. I volunteered my time.
Yeah.
I don't, and I did that knowing chances are I would not be compensated for it.
Mm-hmm.
And to then turn around be stabbed in the back and my character put in question and called an op and a backstabber when I did nothing wrong but make sure that my family had food. Look, Verizon doesn't care about that organization. Oh, you're a part of that organization. Oh, I'm sorry. You don't have to pay that 250 this month then. You're part of them? Okay, yeah. I'm sorry about that. We're gonna go ahead and put you on COVID protocol. You don't have to pay your bill this month.
Yeah.
Gas and electric company. Oh, you're part of them? Oh, okay. And well, we know that they don't take money in.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's fine. I'm sorry. You're not getting any money. So yeah, you don't have to pay. Hell no. You
Yep.
talk about people being delusional. You're delusional.
You
That's not real
delusional.
life.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
That's.
And then
Yep.
you're going to go on a platform and say, hey, I can't afford to pay anybody like a victim. Then you shouldn't have said it in the first damn place.
Yeah.
You
Exactly.
shouldn't have used that as a lure going on other people's platforms. J&J was not elevated. She wasn't taken care of. She wasn't compensated and that her channel wasn't elevated. Well, neither did you.
Neither did you. Yep. Exactly.
Like I said before, I chose my family first. And if that's wrong, then God damn it, I don't want to be right.
Facts. Exactly. And we show loyalty to our family first before we show
Right.
loyalty to anybody
That's my
else.
real family. Families don't
That's
turn their
what we're
back
family.
on each other.
Exactly. And one thing I will say, a bunch of y'all, man, don't go around calling everybody else family, brother or sister or whatever, but you're that same person that backstabs them in the back and twists their words, man. Don't be that same person, man. Don't be
If
that
that
same person.
person asks you to quit your job and not be able to amply support your son or your daughter, are you gonna quit your job?
Yeah,
J&J Video is my job. J&J
exactly.
Video is my business. So
Exactly.
for me to take money into my business, which is my livelihood, and for my character to be put in question when I was doing business with somebody that I did business with before I was a part of that whole thing, how dare you?
How dare you?
Wake
Yep.
the
How
fuck
dare
up.
you? How dare you? And now for people to come to me, for these guys that show a sort of image, they're thinking that they're all leaders and all that, whether or some Marxist leaders or whatever, going around saying, man, yeah, I got all this and whatever, I'm this leader. You'll come to me and ask me for some money, right? You'll come to me and ask me for some money. And when I tell you that I'm not going to do that right now, but I've helped y'all. I've helped y'all. I've
Mm.
helped you. And for you to turn your back on me and say lies about me
Mm.
and call me a traitor and everything, that's ridiculous because I've
Mm.
helped you out. I never asked you for anything, any of y'all, and for y'all to turn your back and act as if I did nothing. And I never asked anything. And for y'all to turn your back on me, JJ, people that were there, Pope, Juju, everybody else that was part of that organization, y'all are ridiculous, man. Y'all are ridiculous. You're ridiculous. And I have love for the other brothers and sisters. But that individual, man, you can go. You can really go and kick rocks, man. Karma is going to come and collect. I can tell you that. I'm done with it. Yeah, I'm just, because it's ridiculous for you to preach, to go around, act like a preacher.
And
And
I
that,
don't care if you go on your live stream because you fucking with the wrong one. You
yep,
come on your live stream and blast. I don't care if you call me a dyke, cunt, whore. I don't care what you call me because your words can't hurt me. Okay? I don't care what kind of charged up live stream you do because I can fucking get charged up too. And I'm not afraid of you. So go ahead and make your little live stream and call people names because that's what the fuck you do.
yep,
Okay.
yep.
Shit house.
About a situation ultimately comes back to how valuable we perceive it to be. Most people are horrible at answering these why questions accurately, and this prevents them from achieving a deeper knowledge of their own values. Sure, they may say they value honesty and a true friend, but then they turn around and lie about you behind your back to make themselves feel better.
Damn.
People may perceive that they feel lonely, but when they ask themselves why they feel lonely, they tend to come up with a way to blame others. Everyone else is mean, or no one is cool or smart enough to understand. And
That's crazy that's right there.
Seeking to solve it.
Yep.
For many people, this passes as self-awareness. And yet, if they were able to go deeper and look at the underlying values, they would see that their original analysis was based on avoiding responsibility for their own problems, rather than accurately identifying.
Preach, bro. Talk to them.
They would see that
Preach.
their decisions were based on chasing highs, not generating true happiness.
Mm.
Most self-help gurus ignore this deeper level of self-awareness as well. They take people who are miserable because they want to be rich, and then give them
Or they
all
want to
sorts of advice
belong
on how
to
make more
something, and
money.
you take that
All
and
the
you
while
use it.
ignoring a values-based
Use it,
question.
yep.
Why do they feel such a need to be rich in the first place? How are they choosing to measure success or failure for themselves? Is it not perhaps some particular value that's the root cause of their unhappiness, and not the fact that they don't drive a Bentley yet? Much of the advice out there operates at a shallow level to make people feel good in the short term, while the real long-term problems never get solved. People's perceptions and feelings may change, but the underlying values and the metrics by which those values are assessed stay the same. This is not real progress. This is just another way to achieve more highs. Honest self-questioning is difficult. It requires asking yourself simple questions that are uncomfortable to answer. In fact, in my experience, the more uncomfortable the answer, the more likely it is to be true. Take a moment and think of something that's really bugging you. Now ask yourself why it bugs you. Chances are the answers will involve a failure of some sort. Then take that failure and ask why it seems true to you. What if that failure wasn't really a failure? What if you've been looking at it the wrong way? A recent example from my own life. It bugs me that my brother doesn't return texts or emails. Why? Because it feels like he doesn't give a shit about me. Why does this seem true? Because if he wanted to have a relationship with me, he would take 10 seconds out of his day to interact with me. Why does his lack of relationship with you feel like a failure? Because we're brothers. We're supposed to have a good relationship. Two things are operating here: a value that I hold dear and a metric that I use to assess progress toward that value. My value. Brothers are supposed to have a good relationship with one another. My metric, being in contact by phone or email. This is how I measure my success as a brother. By holding on to this metric, I make myself like a failure, which occasionally ruins my Saturday mornings. We could dig even deeper by repeating the process. Why are brothers supposed to have a good relationship? Because they're family, and family are supposed to be close. Why does that seem true? Because your family is supposed to matter to you more than anyone else. Why does that seem true? Because being close with your family is normal and healthy, and I don't have that. In this exchange, I'm clear about my underlying value, having a good relationship with my brother, but I'm still struggling with my metric. I've given it another name, closeness, but the metric hasn't really changed. I'm still judging myself as a brother based on frequency of contact, and comparing myself, using that metric, against other people I know. Everyone else, or so it seems, has a close relationship with their family members, and I don't. So obviously there must be something wrong with me. But what if I'm choosing a poor metric for myself and my life? What else could be true that I'm not considering? Well, perhaps I don't need to be close to my brother to have that good relationship that I value. Perhaps there just needs to be some mutual respect, which there is. Or maybe mutual trust is what to look for, and it's there. Perhaps these metrics would be better assessments of brotherhood than how many text messages he. This makes sense. It feels true for me, but it still fucking hurts that my brother and I aren't close. And there is no positive way to spin it. There's no secret way to glorify myself through this knowledge. Sometimes brothers, even brothers who love each other, don't have relationships, and that's fine. It is hard to accept at first, but that's fine. What is objectively true about your situation is not as important as how you come to see the situation, how you choose to measure it and value it. Problems may be inevitable, but the meaning of each problem is not. We get to control what our problems mean based on how we choose to think about them, the standard by which we choose to measure them. Rock star problems. In 1983, a talented young guitarist was kicked out of his band in the worst possible way. The band had just been signed to a record deal. They were about to record their first album. But a couple days before recording began, the band showed the guitarist that no warning, no discussion, no dramatic blowout. They literally woke him up one day by handing him a bus ticket home. As he sat on the bus back to Los Angeles from New York, the guitarist kept asking himself, how did this happen? What did I do wrong? What will I do now? Record contracts didn't exactly fall out of the sky, especially for raucous upstart metal bands. Had he missed his one and only shot? But by the time the bus hit LA, the guitarist had gotten over his self-pity and had vowed to start a new band. He decided that this new band would be so successful that his old band would forever regret their decision. He would become so famous that they would be subjected to decades of seeing him on TV, hearing him on the radio, seeing posters of him in the streets and pictures of him in magazines. They'd be flipping burgers somewhere, loading vans from their shitty club gigs, fat and drunk with their ugly wives, and he'd be rocking out in front of stadium crowds live on television. He'd bathe in the tears of his betrayers, each tear wiped dry by a crisp, clean $100 bill. And so the guitarist worked as if possessed by a musical demon. He spent months recruiting the best musicians he could find, far better musicians than his previous bandmates. He wrote dozens of songs and practiced religiously. His seething anger fueled his ambition. Revenge became his muse. Within a couple of years, his new band had signed a record deal of their own, and a year after that, their first record would go gold. The guitarist's name was Dave Mustaine, and the new band he formed was the legendary heavy metal band Megadeth. Megadeth would go on to sell over 25 million albums and tour the world many times over. Today, Mustaine is considered one of the most brilliant and influential musicians in the history of heavy metal music. Unfortunately,
I thought he was going to say like Eric Clapton or somebody.
The band he was kicked out of was Metallica, which has sold over 180 million albums worldwide. Metallica is considered by many to be one of the greatest rock bands of all time. And because of this, in a rare interview in 2003, a tearful Mustaine admitted that he couldn't help but still consider himself a failure. Despite all that he had accomplished, in his mind, he would always be the guy who got kicked out of Metallica. We're apes. We think we're all sophisticated with our toaster ovens and designer footwear.
Something to
We're just a bunch of finely ornamented apes. And because we are apes...
Yeah, I hate to say it. I've heard of Megadeth.
Megadeth,
but I've heard of
Mhm.
them, but Metallica was way bigger.
Definitely way bigger for sure.
That
And
dream didn't necessarily work out the way
exactly.
you wanted it.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, that's a great lesson to hear, to know, because never measure yourself to other people's success,
Right.
or you know that like, for example, if the organization that we just left, or
Yeah.
whatever, they may do better than us, and that's great. I'm glad that they can do better.
Shout, shout out
I
to them. More power to
Shout out to
them.
them. Exactly. More power to them. Um, I always want other people to do better. You know what I mean? I never going to bathe in other people's
Misery
misery.
and
That's just not the person
failures.
I am. And failures. Yeah. I've let go of that completely. I've
Despite
let go
what
of that
happened, I don't
completely.
want them to fail. I want
Exactly.
them to go on and do well. But I
And do
also
what?
want that for myself, and I'm not going to stop until that happens. I'm going to
Exactly.
keep trying different avenues, but something will catch on. But in the
Exactly.
meantime, I'm going to have a little therapy and keep my mind right in the process. And
Exactly.
hopefully, I'll take a few people with me.
Exactly. Focus on yourself, and focus on what you want and everything. And then at the end of the day, everything else will come. Whether you do decide to always, look back at your past collaborations with other people and see them win, that's great. But focus on you. You know what I mean? And then you won't have time to think about what other people, whether other people are successful or not. You'll be focusing on your own success and the
That's
success of
it.
people that you actually want to focus on, not the people that you had issues with, or you and all that. You just don't have time for that. You learn to
Exactly.
build
And
your
you
own
know the sad part? That
yeah,
brother is talented. That
yeah,
brother is very, very, very intellectually astute.
very,
And
very.
instead of using that energy to better the situation, why preach about not being monetized because you like yelling and screaming? No, use your brain, get monetized, and
Mm-hmm.
then you can really grow that organization. You think?
Exactly.
You're thinking
Well,
about it the wrong way. Get monetized, and then you can grow. Can't
exactly.
do it with no money. That's just not real. That's not
That's
reality.
facts.
If you want
Facts.
to be a nonprofit, go register and be a nonprofit. The
Hmm.
reality is, you want to make things happen, you need money to do it.
Yep. You need money to do it. Exactly. It's that's just the reality
I'm
of
trying
the
not to get monetized and get monetized so you
money.
can make some of these moves.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a reality. So don't blame everybody else for wanting to get monetized, or for wanting to at least get some,
That's the
um
world we live in.
that's the world we live in, and the more you want to run away from that, the more you're actually disillusioning yourself as a person. So and the people around you that believe you, that think that is the case, well, they're also disillusioned themselves, because this world has always been uh m- money has always ran the world out here. The economy is made from money. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, it's not greed that will it's not money that makes people fall. It's greed. It's
Absolutely.
greed. You know what I mean? So and that is the kryptonite of a lot of people. And shout out to Uncle Vern, man. Shout out to you, JJ. Cause easy, keep up the good work. Shout out to Uncle Vern.
Shout
And
out to you, my brother. I love you
yeah,
so much, Uncle Vern.
so shout out to you, brother, Uncle Vern, man. And
And I'm so sorry for what happened to you on this channel. That will never happen again, my brother. You have my word on that.
for sure, for sure,
Because you
for sure.
always supported me, and I appreciate you for that.
Oh yeah, certainly. And Uncle Vern has always shown love to everyone's channel, our channel.
Uncle Vern is the truth. Uncle Vern tried to tell people what was really going on, and nobody listened to him. You
Fact,
know,
facts.
nobody listened. Everybody called him a stupid old dude. Nah, he's not stupid. He's trying to educate you, motherfuckers.
Exactly. That's what's going on. Exactly. And shout out to you, Uncle Vern, man, and truly showing love to everyone and everything.
And
I
I'm sorry
respect.
if Nikki Star is listening to this. I apologize, sis. My streams are normally not like this. One day you and I'll have a conversation about what happened if you are listening. But yeah, it's some crazy crap, and I'm just glad to be free of it.
Exactly, exactly. And since Blonde Dog said that, he said, he commented, he said, my little brother passed away recently. I just wish we
Oh,
could have worked through or talked about our issues. I think about him every day. I'm so sorry, Blonde Dog.
I'm
You
so
know,
sorry.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
It's this is hard, man. Death is
Prayers to you, my brother. Prayers
man.
to you. And you
Condolences,
look
man.
to the Most High to keep you strong
Yeah,
during this time.
definitely.
And the cool thing about that is now he's part of the ether, my brother. He's part
Yeah,
of the ether that surrounds you every day.
exactly, exactly. And he's definitely proud of you and everything. I understand how, man, when brothers and sisters, even when my mother passed away, it was hard on my conscience. I can tell you this, no, not to change subjects, sis, but when I lost her, remember when I told you, I couldn't, I missed her call that day. You know what I mean? When she
Yeah,
passed away, and it really hit me hard. And for a long time I was feeling guilty and everything, but I was
yeah,
able to cope with her passing and all that. So
right.
those are the things that and peace to you, brother Blonde Dog. Anytime you need anything, just a word and just talk. We're here for you and everything. And I
Always.
when your brother loved you, that's what you should know. I'm pretty sure he loved you. God loves you, and we all have
That's
issues,
what
man.
that's what we're about on this channel is uplifting,
Exactly,
not
exactly.
constant negativity and bringing things down and having a lot of anger. That's why I have to be careful not to let that overtake me because for years I was an angry person. So I can kind of relate
Mm-hmm.
to that brother. I can
Mm-hmm.
kind of relate because I was full of anger too.
Yeah.
So you got the right one, okay?
I got the right
Um,
one.
but
Yes,
I've
sir.
learned
Sure.
to sense dissipate that, and I've learned that it was not mentally or physically healthy to hold on to a bunch of anger.
That's
So while I may be in the wrong for airing my dirty laundry, it's therapeutic for me. This is my channel. I reserve the right to do that.
oh yeah.
But I needed to get that out because it's also not healthy to let things fester inside of you either.
It's not.
So you got to clear your soul. And those things needed to be said. They needed to be heard from my mouth to the ears of babes or whoever is listening. Yeah.
Yeah.
What happened wasn't right. And I feel some kind of way about it. So I'm gonna speak my mind about it. So it
Yeah.
is what it is.
It's what it is, man. Nothing wrong with that. As long as you speak your mind about things and you let the truth known, I don't see
That's it.
anything wrong with that. You know what I mean?
That's
There's
it.
too many times where we try to be safe and we're not trying to speak the truth and everything. People are
But what's safe though?
what's safe. Yeah,
Nobody's safe.
no one's safe. Is
Now,
that
what's safe? The world could blow up any day. Your
exactly?
own heart could bust out of your chest any day. You know,
Exactly.
the worst thing that can happen is not death.
Yep.
You feel me? That
Exactly.
when you gone, you win because
Yeah,
you can never be hurt by anyone on this earth again.
that's right.
So, really, torture, mental and physical torture is worse than death.
Yeah.
And so any of that, okay, everything is all good over here. You know what I
Everything.
mean?
Is,
Everything is all good over. So
yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
intend on torturing anybody, and I don't intend on being tortured by anybody. We're gonna let
Yes.
this thing go after the day. I don't want to continue. I was invited to go on another platform and do this where it would be heard by way many more ears, and I appreciate that invitation at the bottom of my heart. And I may go on there, but I can tell you what, it's not gonna be to bash anybody. It's not gonna be to put anybody down. It's just gonna be to enjoy myself and to fellowship, which is what
Yes.
it should be about.
Yeah.
I've vented, I'm gonna let it go. It's all good. You know what I'm saying? When you hurt people, you get hey, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, my brother. Okay.
Facts.
Okay. You got the right woman here. Okay. And I have been scorned and I don't appreciate it.
Exactly.
So yeah,
Mhm.
it's all good. But we're
It's
gonna go
all.
ahead and finish this book and get back into some positive reinforcement. Shout out to
Yeah.
everybody in the chat. Shout out to you,
We
D.
instinctually measure ourselves against others and vie for status. The question is not whether we evaluate ourselves against others, Rather, the question is, by what standard do we measure ourselves? Dave Mustaine, whether he realized it or not, chose to measure himself by whether he was more successful and popular than Metallica. The experience of getting thrown out of his former band was so painful for him that he adopted success relative to Metallica as the metric by which to measure himself and his music career. Despite taking a horrible event in his life and making something positive out of it, as Mustaine did with Megadeth, his choice to hold on to Metallica's success as his life-defining metric continued to hurt him decades later. Despite all the money and the fans and the accolades, he still considered himself a failure. Now, you and I may look at Dave Mustaine's situation and laugh. Here's this guy with millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of adoring fans, a career doing the thing he loves best, and still he's getting all weepy-eyed that his rock star buddies from 20 years ago are way more famous than he is. This is because you and I have different values than Mustaine does, and we measure ourselves by different metrics. Our metrics are probably more like, I don't want to work a job for a boss I hate, or I'd like to earn enough to send my kid to a good school, or I'd be happy not to wake up in a drainage ditch. And by these metrics, Mustaine is wildly, unimaginably successful. But by his metric, be more popular and successful than Metallica, he's a failure. Our values determine the metrics by which we measure ourselves and everyone else. Onoda's value of loyalty to the Japanese Empire is what sustained him on Lubang for almost 30 years. But this same value is also what made him miserable upon his return to Japan. Mustaine's metric of being better than Metallica likely helped him launch an incredibly successful music career. But that same metric later tortured him in spite of his success. If you want to change how you see your problems, you have to change what you value and or how you measure failure and success. As an example, let's look at another musician who got kicked out of another band. His story eerily echoes that of Dave Mustaine, although it happened 2 decades earlier. It was 1962, and there was a buzz around an up-and-coming band from Liverpool, England. This band had funny haircuts and an even funnier name.
Well, we know he's talking about the Beatles.
Undeniably good.
The Beatles, yep. Mm-hmm.
Finally taking notice. There was John, the lead singer and songwriter. Paul, the boyish-faced romantic bass player.
Wonder who they're talking about.
Yeah.
Pete Best,
yeah.
maybe. I think Pete Best was their drummer before Ringo Starr.
Ringo Starr, yeah.
George, the rebellious lead guitar player. And then there was the drummer. He was considered the best looking of the bunch. The girls all went wild for him, and it was his face that began to appear in the magazines first. He was the most professional member of the group, too.
I know my musical history.
Didn't do drugs. Steady girl. There were even a few people in suits and ties who thought he should be the face of the band, not John or Paul. His name was Pete Best. And in 1962, after landing their first record contract, the other 3 members of the Beatles quietly got together and asked their manager, Brian Epstein, to fire him. Epstein agonized over the decision. He liked Pete, so he put it off, hoping the other 3 guys would change their minds. Months later, a mere 3 days before the recording of the first record began, Epstein finally called Best to his office. The manager unceremoniously told him to piss off and find another band. He gave no reason, no explanation, no condolences. Just told him that the other guys wanted him out of the group. So, best of luck. As a replacement, the band brought in some oddball named Ringo Starr. Ringo was older, big funny nose. Ringo agreed to get the same ugly haircut as John, Paul, and George, and insisted on writing songs about octopuses and submarines. The other guys said, sure, fuck it, why not? Within 6 months of Best's firing, Beatlemania had erupted, making John, Paul, George, and Ringo Starr arguably 4 of the most famous faces on the entire planet. Meanwhile, Best understandably fell into a deep depression and spent a lot of time doing what any Englishman will do if you give reason to. Drink. These were not kind to Pete Best. By 1905, he had sued 2 of the Beatles for slander, and all of his other musical projects had failed horribly. In 1968, he attempted suicide, only to be talked out of it by his mother. His life was a wreck. Best didn't have the same redemptive story Dave Mustaine did. He never became a global superstar or made millions of dollars. Yet in many ways, Best ended up better off than Mustaine. In an interview in 1994, Best said, "I'm happier than I would have been with the Beatles." What the hell? Best explained that the circumstances of his getting kicked out of the Beatles ultimately led him to meet his wife. And then his marriage led him to having children. His values changed. He began to measure his life differently. Fame and glory would have been nice, sure, but he decided that what he already had was more important. A big and
Facts.
loving family, a stable marriage, a simple life. He even still got to play drums, touring Europe and albums well into the 2000s. So what was really lost? Just a lot of attention and adulation, whereas what was gained meant so much more to him. These
That's
stories suggest that some values and metrics are better than others. Some lead to good problems that are easily and regularly solved. Others lead to bad problems that are not easily and regularly solved. Shitty values. There are a handful of values that create really poor problems for people. Problems that can harm. So let's go over some of them quickly. 1. Pleasure is great, but it's a horrible value to prioritize. Ask any drug addict how his pursuit of pleasure turned out.
we
Ask an
deep because he
adulterer
went
who
deep
shattered
on
her
that one.
family and lost her children whether pleasure ultimately made her happy. Almost ate himself to death, how pleasure helped him solve his. Pleasure is a false god. Research shows that people who focus their energy on superficial pleasures end up more anxious, more emotionally unstable, and more depressed. Pleasure is the most superficial form of life satisfaction and therefore the easiest to obtain and the easiest to lose. And yet, pleasure is what's marketed to us 24/7. It's what we fixate on. It's what we use to numb and distract ourselves. But pleasure, while necessary in life in certain doses, isn't by itself sufficient. Pleasure is not the cause of happiness. Rather, it is the effect. If you get the other stuff right, the other values and metrics, then pleasure will naturally occur as a byproduct. 2. Material success. Many people measure their self-worth based on how much money they make, or what kind of car they drive, or whether their front lawn is greener and prettier than the next door neighbors. Research shows that once you provide for basic physical needs, food, shelter, and so on, the question between happiness and worldly success quickly approaches zero. So if you're starving and living on the street in the middle of it, an extra $10,000 a year would affect your happiness a lot.
I like that story too. And it's so funny because anything that has to do with the Beatles is kind of near and dear to my heart because John Lennon, I remember when John Lennon was killed. And I became a huge John Lennon fan after that, which came with that, a love for the Beatles. So I never heard that story about, that's how I knew who Pete Best was. And I knew the story. I didn't know that had happened though. That was something that I never heard about. I knew that he was asked to leave the band, but again, you know, they didn't go into how deeply that was and what ended up ultimately happening to him. But yeah, you know, that was a good story.
But if you're sitting pretty in the middle class and a development, an extra $10,000 per year won't affect it, meaning that you're killing yourself working overtime and weekends for basically nothing. The issue with overvaluing material success is the danger of prioritizing it over other values, such as honesty, violence, and compassion.
35 minutes more of today's session to go, guys, and then we're good. I'm enjoying this today. What about you, DZ?
I'm really enjoying it, man. It's good. Yeah, I really like this.
Yeah, it's a pretty good book.
Yeah.
When people measure themselves not by their behavior, the status symbols, their intellect, then not only are they shallow, but they're probably assholes. 3. Always being right. Our brains are inefficient machines. We consistently make poor assumptions, misjudge probabilities, misremember facts, give in to cognitive biases, and to make decisions based on our emotional whims. As humans, we're wrong pretty much constantly. So if your metric for success is to be right, well, you're going to have a difficult time rationalizing all of the bullshit to yourself. The fact is, people who base self-worth on being right about everything prevent themselves from learning from their mistakes. They lack the ability to take on new perspectives and empathize with others. They close themselves off to new and important information. It's far more helpful to assume that you're ignorant and don't know a whole lot. This keeps you unattached to superstitious or poorly informed beliefs and promotes a constant state of learning and growth. 4. Staying positive. Then there are those who measure their lives by the ability to be positive about, well, pretty much everything. Lost your job? Great! That's an opportunity to explore your passions. Husband cheated on you with your sister? Well, at least you're learning what you really mean to the people around you. Child dying of throat cancer? At least you don't have to pay for college anymore. While there is something to be said for staying on the sunny side of life, the truth is, sometimes life sucks. So the healthiest thing you can do is admit it. Denying negative emotions leads to experiencing deeper and more prolonged negative emotions and to emotional dysfunction. Constant positivity is a form of avoidance, not a valid solution to life's problems. Problems which, by the way, if you're choosing the right values and metrics, should be invigorating you and motivating you. It's simple, really. Things go wrong, people upset us, accidents happen. These things make us feel like shit, and that's fine. Negative emotions are a necessary component of emotional health.
It's very
to deny that
motivational
is to perpetuate problems rather than solve them. The trick with negative emotions is to, 1, express them in a socially acceptable and healthy manner, and them in a way that aligns with your values.
You know, I also noticed that all of this came at a time when I chose to do live streams more on a regular basis. You know, could it be that, you know, they're threatened? I mean, what's the purpose of that? You feel me? You know, just because I decided to do a live stream game, I call myself trying to keep things rolling because I had become so used to being a part of that. So, yeah, I don't know. It makes you think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, certainly.
A simple example. A value of mine is nonviolence, as measured by metrics such as not hitting. Therefore, when I get
I thought that's what I was supposed to be doing.
I express that.
You know, I'm supposed to be growing my channel, right?
Yep, exactly.
But the anger is not the problem. Anger is natural. Anger is a part of life.
It's a little sus.
Anger is arguably quite healthy in many situations. Remember, emotions are just feedback. See, it's the punching people in the face that's the problem, not the anger. The anger is merely the messenger for my fist in your face. Don't blame the messenger. Blame my fist in your face. Ourselves to stay positive at all times, we deny the existence of our life's problems. And when we deny our problems, we rob ourselves of the chance to solve them and generate happiness. Problems add a sense of meaning and importance to our. Thus, to duck our problems is to lead a meaningless, even if supposedly pleasant run. Completing a marathon makes us happy eating a chocolate cake. Raising a child makes us happier in a video game.
Hold on.
To make ends meet makes us happier.
Oh, you talking to me? Yeah.
No, we got somebody else on here.
Oh, okay.
Flight, can you hear me? Yeah, his window is black, DZ, like that stuff that happened with Rev and them before.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They were trying to come in from the Flight Sports trying to come on. I don't know what's happening, Flight. The screen is back. Maybe go back out and try to come back in, brother. I'm gonna knock you out. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and start the book back up.
Buying a new computer. These activities are stressful arduous, and often unpleasant. They also require withstanding problem after problem. Yet they are some of the most meaningful moments and joyous things we'll do. They involve pain, struggle, even anger and despair. Yet once they're accomplished, we look back and get all misty-eyed telling our grandkids about them. As Freud once said, one day, in retrospect, the years of struggle will strike you as the most beautiful. This is why these values, pleasure, material success, always being right, staying positive, are poor ideals for a person's life. Some of the greatest moments of one's life are not pleasant, not successful, not known, and not positive. The point is to nail down some good values and metrics, and pleasure and success will naturally result. These things are side effects of good values. By themselves, they are empty highs. Defining good values. Good values are 1, reality-based, 2, socially constructive, and 3, and controllable. Bad values are 1, superstitious, 2, socially destructive, and immediate or
Can you hear me?
Honestly,
Yeah.
You can
it's a
hear
good
me?
value because it's
Let me
something
pause
you have
it.
complete control over.
Yep, I can hear you now. I just sent a link to your Instagram too, just in case you couldn't get in, brother. How you doing today?
Doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing good.
I'm
A
doing
little
good. How
pissed
about
off.
yourself? Oh, my bad. That's crazy. What's going on?
Yeah. Just listening to an art of not giving a fuck. Because we don't give a fuck right about now.
Right. So tell us a little bit about the story about this not giving a fuck.
About the book?
Yeah.
Or about what happened?
The book.
The book is amazing. Basically, this guy's trying to let everybody know that there are certain things in your
Yeah.
life, like your family, and your livelihood and things like that you should give a fuck about. But the drama, what's going on in somebody else's life, like who managed to get an interview with somebody or who managed to be invited to somebody's house, that's drama you shouldn't be worried about. That's
Right.
creating drama. Okay. That's not uplifting. What somebody didn't want to be under your control and do their streams when you thought they should do their streams. That person was called an op. That person was called a traitor and not helping the mission because they had a job and couldn't do streams when you thought they should do them.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
Yeah.
Right.
Because people don't want to be controlled. So, that's called giving a fuck about the wrong thing. Don't you think?
Yeah, definitely. Gotta go worry about yourself, man. Take care of yourself, stay positive, keep moving,
That's it.
Everybody can go out here and do their own things, It's crazy. We should be partnering up, instead of doing
Right.
all that other stuff,
Right.
That's the most psychotic thing about the situation,
Yeah.
We're stronger together. So unfortunately, everybody doesn't view it like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shout out
Exactly.
to DZ too. I see you.
Hey, shout out to you, Fight
Yeah.
Man. Thanks for coming in, and I appreciate you and Sister JJ. I mean, like, that situation, man, and I have to formally apologize to you, man, because I know during that time there was so much going on and everything. We're even supposed to talk about it and all that. You know what I mean? I have a close relationship with you and DJ and all. So for me, like, when that situation happened was pretty crazy. But,
Yeah.
like, I don't agree with
The way that he did that to DJ was ridiculous. Okay, let's just keep it a buck. If you're going to give somebody a name and then strip them of it without warning or without anything like that, openly, publicly, whether they were warned behind the scenes or not, publicly, it didn't look good. Okay, let's just keep it a buck. Publicly, it did not look good, but either way, you know, you're gonna accuse him of not uplifting my channel, and then next thing I know, all I'm doing is work for the lit house, work for the lit house, work for the lit house. I mean, come on now. You know what I'm saying? How was my channel uplifted in that instance? Like I said, it didn't cost you anything to tell somebody to come subscribe to my channel like somebody did for you, like the brother from the UK did for you. That's why your channel grew.
Yeah.
But no, you want to continue to use somebody and not uplift them. That's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
And
wrong. And I'm fucking calling you out. That's wrong. You call everybody else out, you getting called out now.
exactly. Exactly. I mean, from the beginning, like I always said, and I always told you, Sister JJ, Flight did nothing wrong.
Flight ain't never do nothing wrong to me.
Flight
Flight
ain't did nothing
patronized
wrong
me.
to me.
Flight gave me a chance.
No,
Flight was promoting my videos. Flight was like, hey, sis, hey, I could use your help.
yep.
And I got to turn that brother away for what? Because you don't like him? That's bullshit. And I'm disappointed in myself that I even went for that bullshit. Kicking
Yeah.
Uncle Vern off my channel, that hurt my heart to do that day. So I apologize to you, Flight, and again to you, Uncle Vern, because that should have never happened.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It was definitely a crazy time for me as well. You know, very emotional as well, believe it or not. You know, just in terms of the relationships, you know, definitely one. I wouldn't lie to you if it wasn't one Sunday morning, I was just thinking about it, like, damn, you know, like look at all of this, look at all, you know, like this is crazy. Like
Yeah.
everything was just flowing, like. You know, and it's just very, very crazy, very frustrating time. You know, but you know, you got to put your head down and get rolling. You know,
That's it.
and I always kept it positive. I knew eventually, you know, you guys would, you know, something would come back, you know, back around. And like I said, I'm here waiting. Like I said, I'm really past that. I'm not upset about you. Nothing what happened with that.
Was I working with you, Flight?
Yeah, pardon me.
Was I working with you? Have we talked at all within the past few months?
No.
Other than that time you asked me to do that video for you.
No.
I'm like, come on. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's
you
crazy.
know, she's a op. She's working with the enemy. First of all, we're not enemies. We're not on a goddamn battlefield.
Right.
Grow up.
Yeah.
This is fucking YouTube.
Yep.
This
Like
is not the hardcore prison cells or the streets of LA and all of that type shit.
Yeah.
This is YouTube. It's people making
YouTube, man.
content. They don't have to be that deep.
We're all
Right.
eating, man. We're all eating. Flight knows, man. He always show love to me, to JJ. Like, you know, I always show love to his channel. Like, we always helped each other out, man. You know what I mean? He sent me cash out. We sent each other cash out. You know, we
Yeah,
go
like, hey
crazy.
man, you know, when you still need that work done, okay,
Yeah,
Flight hooked me up within a matter of minutes. Okay,
yeah. Always showing love, man.
within a matter of fucking minutes.
Well,
That money was right back in my Cash App. Thank you, Flight.
No problem. Don't worry. It's more. We got a lot more work to do, man. You know, it's big business. We're not doing talking. We making sure everybody eat. You know, no 5-finger discounts. You know, we're gonna take care of ours. You know, especially when the quality is this level. You know, you can't don't underestimate this level of talent that's coming your way. I'm telling you, it's an avalanche. It's a big wave. It's a tsunami. I'm telling you, I better watch out.
Yeah, man. No, man. It's just shout out to you, Flight, man. Honestly, like I'm excited. Always, man. Always. Like I would tell you this, man. When I first had my YouTube, you know what I mean. Not only did DJ help me first, but then, you know, when Flight came through, man, I always brought he brought a drove of people, you know, and that's how I found out about you Sister JJ, because you made intros for Flight as well and everything. So I was
what I'm
like,
talking about. Don't do what?
Flight, yeah,
for
you know,
who?
Exactly, you know. So always it was a family,
I'm
man.
like, that's your beef. That's not my beef.
Yep, exactly.
What do you mean?
Exactly, man.
And what was that beef even for? Do we know?
Oh,
I mean, I have no beef, no internet beef. You know, no online beef. You know, when I come on, everybody starts their YouTube and online and their computers for different reasons. Me, when I run the computer, I'm running the business. The company is up and running. We move in the groove. I don't know what's going on. I'm not trying to argue. I ain't trying to beef with people. You know, I'm on here trying to have fun. You know, why would I? We working out. I work a job. We in our daily life. Why am I coming on the computer and to be stressed out? It's time to have fun. Let's have a ball. Let's go crazy. You know, let's keep it to a certain extent, but let's have some fun. You know.
That's what that's what I got on YouTube for. I don't know about all the other shit, and I'm gonna let it go because I mean, hey, it is what it is. At the end of the day, I don't know how I got roped up in that crap. But I'm just glad to be free, and I'm glad that we're gonna move forward and make some things happen. I'm excited.
Right. Yes, definitely. And like I said, definitely for other people as well. You know, we definitely need to get your stuff out there. And people need to get their videos. We got an influx of talent coming into YouTube, and people don't have intros, and they really sleeping. And you need to get with the best in the game, and that's J&J Video. And I'm telling you, we gotta really start doing that. People got to get their intros. Everybody's making videos with no intros, and they wonder why they're stagnant. You understand? You know, you need that intro.
So, hey, something as little as that, a nice intro, nice outro, that can elevate your platform so much because it makes you look like your professional TV show. TV shows have intros and outros.
Speaking of that as well, you helped me with that as well. The intro, I was just making videos with no intro, and it was doing whatever it was. But you know, your help definitely propelled me to the level of what I'm able to do now, and able to help other people as well. Like I'm trying to help people as well. I'm not just trying to take everything and do it all. Like when everybody's welcomed. You know, I'm housing the community. We housing the community. We in here together with it. You know, that's what we trying to do. Have some fun.
That's how it's supposed to be, brother. That's how it's supposed to be.
That intro always hits, man. You know?
Man, it's unbelievable, man. My kids dancing to it. It's legendary now.
Yeah, man. Oh man, it's beautiful, man. Like when I heard JJ make that, I was like, wow, that's amazing. Cause Flight, man, when that intro came in all the time, bro, like that pumped me up, man. That pumped a lot. That pumped the people up, man. You know what I mean? So,
and then that Lonzo Bull podcast intro, that intro give me chills. You understand?
Like, that one was crazy.
To this day, I just go back and play. I was just listening to it while I was just getting myself together. I just got home, you know, from work. I'm off work. I don't go back till Monday. So I'm ready to work. You understand? So,
nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna try to have that done between today and tomorrow, my brother.
No problem, no rush.
No, between the day and tomorrow, I'm gonna try to have that done for you, and let me know what else you need. And
yes, we gonna need some more. We'll talk more.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah, because if I start saying too much, it'll end up on somebody else's platform. Maybe the idea, you know.
Right.
Yo, that's right. Like I told JJ, man, we got CIA and FBI here, man.
You know, especially with this creativity that's going on in my mind right now. The creativity, everything's just firing on all cylinders right now.
Let's put the creative minds together. That's what I'm talking about.
That's what matters, man. Yeah.
Let's create and appreciate, not hate.
Yes, exactly. And take care of everybody. You know, stop trying to get a deal. You know, let's take care of everybody in this community so we could grow. Everybody doing their thing. You know, let's do it.
Talk to them.
And not just a one-off. Let's work on some projects. You understand? You know, not just a one-off intro. Let's get some. Let's work together. Let's collaborate.
Definitely.
Yeah. That's how we're able to grow at the end of the day. You know. Yeah, so.
Like some full-length feature type shit. You feel?
You
know.
This is what it's all about. You know, this is what it's all about. You know, being together and really helping out. It's not about money. It's about respect. You know what I mean? And one thing Flighter has always done, and JJ can say this. I can say the same thing about your sister JJ. Always shown people the respect that they deserve, man. You know what I mean? And that's what it's all about. You know what I mean? Treating people with respect and making them feel like they're home. You know what I mean? No need to take advantage of people, use them, and all that. You know what I mean? So
that's what I've always tried to do, DZ. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate that. You know what I mean? There's times when, you know, if I fell short of that, I apologize. But you know, hey, that's what it's all about. We're all human beings. We're all adults, and we're all just trying to get on here and have fun and make it happen. And that's what I want to continue to be about. So I'm glad, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And just go to that next level. Like, as we continue to grow, you know, you stick with the same team. You don't just go flying all over the board, you know. As I elevate, you know, I want to continue to use videos with you. I haven't contacted nobody while all that's going on. I don't want to work with anybody because I'm like, I don't want to change this. I don't want it just can mess everything up. You know, it's like, I'd rather just wait this wave out. It was smart, the smarter business decision at the time, because I was really need one of these things shifted, you know, these things I wanted. But the smarter thing in my eye was, let me just wait for this whole avalanche thing that's going on just to fizzle out. And then everything we could do better business that way, instead of going to contact someone else and they don't understand. We have a better understanding of how the things need to be done.
Look how the universe works, okay? Because up until, when was this, yesterday or day before, DZ?
Like
when
Tuesday.
all of this went down, I had no idea that that's what you were doing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, the fact that even happened, because I had no intention on walking away from that organization. And when it was brought to my attention that it was told to others that I had done that, I'm like, what? Yeah. I've had opportunity to, but I have not done that. You know, how did I even have time to do that? And if you look at your content, you know, there's, if you were, I can look at your content and tell the stuff that you use is still the stuff that I did. So that says to me that you didn't go anywhere else. And I'm like, wow. And it also says I haven't done anything for you since. Because them intros is months old now. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, whatever, man, you know. So now you have made that come to fruition, and you have nobody to blame for it but yourself. So yeah. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this stream short so I can finish getting back to work on that.
All right.
Done. Okay.
All right. Take care, DZ. You know, holla at me, man. I get with you, and you know, we streaming. You know, we be streaming. You know, you're more than welcome, man.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I'll come through for sure, man. I'll show up, man.
I know the rhetoric going on. It's crazy going on right now.
Yeah, man. You know how it is, man. Man, I'm ready for the name calling.
Baby.
Yes.
Let's go. Shout out to your flight, man. I'll come through for sure, man. We'll keep in contact on IG for sure, man. I got you.
Okay, I appreciate it. God bless.
Yeah,
God bless. All right, fine. I'll talk to you soon, my brother.
Okay.
Yeah, man. This is what it's about, man. This is what it's about, JJ.
Elevating each other. Elevating, not hating, man. Elevating.
Yeah, man. No need to put us down. No need to put each other down and everything. And I'm ready for the smoke. I'm ready for y'all smoke. You know what I mean? If you guys want to come through and bash us or whatever, you guys can continue to bash us on your platforms and everything. But I'm going to lead with love and positivity, man. You know what I mean? We're going to lead with love and positivity. We got no time for all that high school 2.0 type of shit.
Oh, you know it's going to come, but ain't nobody worried about that shit. In my opinion, I've already been bashed, okay? Yeah, I've already been bashed behind my back. So now, go ahead and have the decency and do it in my face, okay? Yeah. Go ahead, make your little stream, yelling and screaming and bringing everything down and talking about people being ops and traitors and all of that shit, okay? Yeah. Go ahead and do what you need to do, okay? So whatever, I've had my piece. I've spoken my piece. You do what you need to do, okay? Yeah. So you go ahead on and have your little stream. Hey, sticks and stones. That's all I can say. Just say what the fuck you need to say, because I'm gonna say what I need to say. I think I've proven that here today.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you stand on your own, sis, and you stood on your own from day one. You never try to stand on anybody else's shoulders. You always did it. You know what I mean? And shout out to you for always keeping it real.
Shout out to you for always having my back, D. Okay, let's call it what it is. I don't care if they call you a snitch or whatever they call you. You have always had my back. When a guy came and said that I hated on my own race, okay, how the fuck is that even possible? You
Yeah,
had my back, let me know what was really going on. And I have to give it to the organization. Even they had my back in that instance. You know what I'm saying? So shout out for that. But then when you turn around and do the same thing, yeah,
yep.
that's not cool. That's
That's
not
uncool
cool.
at all. That's uncool at
So,
all.
and if you think you're not going to be called out about it, you wrong. You wrong. You
Yeah,
got the wrong one. You got
yeah,
the wrong one.
yeah.
So it is what it is, DZ. I appreciate you so much, my brother. You have
No
stuck by
problem.
my side. We have developed a lifelong bond and friendship. Thank you so much for being there and keeping it real with me when no one else did. Shout out
Um,
to Uncle Vern. Shout out to Dexterious Crockett for being an awesome brother as well. And shout out to Flight Sports TV. Okay. I appreciate you. Blunt Dog, Vegan Knowledge. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being in the chat. Anybody who's listening, don't be a peeping Tom. Holla at a sister. You know what I'm saying? And let's just keep it real.
exactly.
Because that's
Keep
the
it
way
real,
things
man.
should be.
Yeah, that's the way it should be, man. At the end of the day, thank you for always having my back, sis. You know what I mean? And
No
always showing
problem,
love to
brother. No
me,
problem.
no
You
matter
got my
what.
back, I got your back. That's how it's supposed to
Exactly.
be.
That's how it's supposed to be. Exactly. So, anyone that has an issue with the me standing by the truth, well, y'all can go kick rocks. I can give true shits. You know what? I can give true shits. I mean, all this YouTube shit that you guys want to create and all
What's the
that.
name of the book, DZ? Do we give a fuck? We
Yeah,
don't give a fuck.
we don't give a fuck,
Okay?
man. You know what I mean? I'm here making this money and all that shit. I'm here, being on the stream right now, having fun with my sis out here. I'm living my life, man.
Oh,
So,
by the way, I
oh,
can't wait to get with you on that, my brother. Let me
oh
knock this
yeah.
out for him, and trust and believe we will get with the trading, because
With the trading, yo, yo,
that's what needs to. We
eh,
need to maybe do some streams and help some people out with that.
for
Shout out to
sure, for
Wealth
sure.
Engineering. He does streams on that very
That's true.
thing.
Exactly.
So,
Shout out to Wealth Engineering, and I'm gonna peep some game for the haters out here, or for the people that wanna, you know, keep on, focus on this high school 2.0 drama. Do some options trading. All right, do some options trading. Download Robinhood, or Webull, or any of those apps, and do some options trading, so that you can actually
so you
make
don't
some
have to be
passive
broke,
income.
crying
Broke,
broke, and
and yeah,
can't do what you need to do.
exactly. You don't need to go around blaming other people for your own transgressions and for not making enough, whatever. I'm not talking about quote unquote people that are hating or whatever. I'm talking about everyone that needs to make a passive income. But especially
Exactly.
if you are blaming other people for your own transgressions, it's time to take it by the horns, you know, and
Talk to
actually
him.
make some money. All right, make it for yourself. Don't give a shit about what this person or that person says or whatever. Do your own thing. Go on Weibo or Robinhood, download the app on the iPhone and Android, and make sure you sign up for it. Yeah, Stash, exactly, Blonde Dog. Stash is a good it's also a good app to invest in some stocks. Download Stash, Weibo, Robinhood. A lot of these apps are out there. Invest in stocks, Bitcoin, whatever you do. Make some money, make some passive income. The
Control your
world
future.
Control your future. The world is going through that. Don't blame everybody else for your own transgressions and everything. You know what I mean? Everybody struggles. Everybody has their own struggles. We struggle. We all go through it. We all go through it.
It's a
We're all
sad
in it.
world when you are belittled or called a
Exactly.
traitor for trying to move forward in your life and
Move
move
forward.
ahead. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? That's like
Exactly.
crabs in the bucket dragging each other down. I'm done with
Exactly.
that.
Yeah, exactly. We're done with that. Exactly. So make sure, and I'm glad that you mentioned that, Sister JJ, about the options trading, because
Yep.
we this is what we do. This is what we do. I can make $300 or $600 in a matter of minutes, just by purchasing a few stocks in the market. You know what I mean, and just making money out of it. So you can do the same thing. So
And each
instead of
one teach one.
yeah, and each one teach one, exactly. So I'm not going to be greedy and all that and keep all that info to myself. I'm going to share the information. I'm going to share the wealth, man. Do that too, and and once you do that, trust me, all that high school 2.0 drama, whatever, you stop. you actually stop focusing on that. You stop focusing on that. You know what I mean? Because there's no need to focus on that. There's no need to focus on that unnecessary drama, because that unnecessary drama, based on experience, holds you back. It holds you back because you end up focusing on things that are actually not really doing anything else. And then at the end of the day, what have you done? Nothing. Nothing. You haven't done
Oh,
anything. You haven't done anything. So instead of focus that energy that you call everybody traitors or whatever you want to do for calling out thinking that everybody is against you. Focus that energy on yourself. Focus that energy on yourself. Make some money. Make some passive income, because guess what? A better financial situation will make you feel better mentally and physically. You'll be able to take care of the things that you want to take care of. All that extracurricular activities that you're doing after you're done with work or whatever, you'll be able to focus on that because you'll have a passive income coming in. So you won't need have
facts,
any excuses or why somebody feels some type of way about a certain situation. I'm done with what I have to say. So,
facts,
yeah,
facts, my brother.
yeah,
Preach. Let
yeah.
them know.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. So don't try to get download Webull, Robinhood. You know what I mean? Educate yourself on stocks. Do some options
That
trading. Just
might
have
that
options.
might be a stream, DZ.
Yeah, we should do a stream. Yeah, for sure. After we do what we do after this stream, sis, I think we should do a stream sometime. This week or next week, and we show the people what we actually we're teaching ourselves, what how we're making this passive income, because I feel like people need to know that, because
I'm
for a
not
long
making
time,
it yet, but I will be making it because
yeah,
you're gonna be
yeah,
teaching me. So
yeah,
I'm
for
I'm
sure, for
I'm one of
sure,
those students, my brother, and
yeah,
I am
yeah,
opening my ears and I am listening because I've been wanting to do this for years and I
yeah,
haven't had anybody to sit me down and really teach me how to do it. I've been struggling with it on my own and I've made a couple dollars here and there, but I really appreciate you taking the
yeah,
time to teach me and get me into it and also spread the wealth with our brothers and sisters out there because they do it in other communities, but we don't do it enough in our community.
yeah,
So I appreciate that, and I'm looking forward to learning so much and being able to move forward with a passive income because me and my wife, we deserve it. We've been busting our ass
oh,
forever.
you deserve
The
it.
thing that happened with DoorDash, took our business down, and hey, this it's time to get some payback.
Yeah, it's time to get some payback, and you can get some payback by going to DoorDash and doing options trading against DoorDash, man. You get that
Yeah,
money
how
back.
about I start
You
owning
know
some of
what I
DoorDash
mean?
and getting some of that money off of
You get
DoorDash?
some of that money back through out DoorDash, man. That's just the way it is. So I'm glad that you mentioned that, sis, and you deserve all the best, sis, and that's why I wanted to give you that knowledge,
Knowledge is
because
power.
the knowledge is power, because
Applied knowledge is power.
exactly,
Knowledge you don't use is useless. It's trash.
exactly.
Applied knowledge is power. I'm gonna apply the
Okay,
shit out of it.
exactly. And Blunt Dog, if you want to take part of it, you put feel free to reach out to me, and Sister JJ as well, if you want to do go that, and then we can definitely get together and show you exactly what we mean. But I will say the apps that you can download right now. I don't think Stash has options trading right now, but if you want to just to invest in normal stocks, you can use Stash for sure. But if you want to do options trading, I know Webull and Robinhood, TD Ameritrade, Charles Schwab, a lot of these apps. But I use Webull and Robinhood, so they do options trading. So if you want to get into options trading, I would suggest you use those two apps. But apart from
If
that,
you have an affiliate link, DZ, I will
yeah,
put that in the description of this video.
certainly,
So that
certainly.
way you can get credit for that.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, and I'll definitely do that. I'll send it to you, and then you put it on the link.
Okay. We'll
And
do.
yeah, and Blonde Dog, I did disactivate my Twitter as well. So I'll give my IG to Sister JJ, and the Sister JJ, if you can put it on the description, and then Blonde Dog can contact me on IG as well.
Sounds good.
And then we can take it from there, because this is why our community is so backwards, because we're not willing to give that sort of knowledge to each other. You know what I mean? And this is why the other communities, I don't want to go there, but this is why the other communities are far ahead to where we're at right now.
Yeah.
Trying to
Yeah.
help the brothers and sisters and actually lead by action instead of words. Lead by action. Let's not just say it.
It's not
And
just talk. Let's
just
do.
not talk. Exactly. Let's do. You know what I mean? And I've always been about that. You know, and I did mention to you, Sister JJ, I've always been unconventional. And a lot of people were telling me, DZ, why do you want to stop working next year? And I always tell people, I'm going towards that.
Why
because
would you want to be a slave for the
why
rest of your
would
life?
exactly why would I want to be a slave for the
I
rest
have
of my
not
life?
worked for anybody in over 15 years. I will never
Exactly.
go back to working for somebody else.
Exactly. And be your own independent thinker, man. You know what I mean? Be your own independent entity. All right. Don't try to go for other people. Like, don't try to ride on the coattails of other people, man. Be your own independent entity, because that's how you are going to progress in life. That's how you are going to progress in life. You know what I mean? And financial independence is where you can start. Financial
Facts.
independence is where you can start. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm giving this knowledge to people. I know we've been talking about, our transgressions that we've been going through, with these other organizations the last few today. But I think that it's always great to segue into being financially independent, being not subscribing to that groupthink culture that we're so used to doing. I think it's important to do that. It's important to just being independent and not having to focus on that. So yeah, man,
Cool.
options trading, guys, options trading, man. But yeah, thank you, Sister JJ. I
Shout out
appreciate
to
it.
you, baby. Shout out to you,
Yeah.
DZ. Shout out to my baby Vegan Knowledge. Shout out to Uncle Vern. Shout out to Blunt Dog. Shout out to Flight Sports TV. Shout out to anybody who's out there listening. Shout out to Nikki Star TV. Shout out to anybody out there who is listening. And please make sure you smash the like button. The Cash App will also be included in the link of the video. So if you want to donate to a sister and help the cause, hey, please share if you care. All right. So guys, have a great afternoon, and we will hit y'all mañana.
Been listening to the Midday Meltdown Party Over Here with J&J Video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're feeling the vibe, and please share if you care on all forms of social media. You can support the content on this channel by donating to the Cash App link that's been provided in the description of this video. Thanks again for listening. Peace and blessings.